come up. So with the habits in the area that I work in, I'm helping people with inflammation. I'm helping them reduce inflammation. I am helping them move into a more clean eating, getting into eating real food and away from all the processed foods. And so that's and creating healthy habits. And so one of the main things that I do is I run a 6-week wellness program, and it's generally in a group. But sometimes I do, work with people one-on-one with that. But I'm helping them, change what they're eating so that they're creating less inflammation in their body. So, like I said, moving into real foods and learning how, and what to buy, what ingredients to look for. And then, as far as some of the other habits that I work with the people as well is, exercise. Just for me, it's not in general a specific exercise, but just the fact that you get out and exercise. So, and moving your body, because God made your body to move. He didn't make it to sit on the couch, I know, but he wants you to move your body. And sleep, because sleep is so important. And so working on different habits around getting good quality sleep and quantity. And that looks different for everybody as well. And then I would say, a fourth area would be just relaxing, just, spending time away from things, grounding, getting in nature, getting just away spiritually, reading the Bible, listening to podcasts or whatnot, but just getting away from the crazy of the world. So that's kind of, and I will go into more detail in that in our group. So hope you'll join us there. How about you, Bree?
So the most important habit that I've formed is fasting. And that is because making fasting a habit has improved my physical health and my spiritual health in more ways than I can count on just this short podcast. But incorporating fasting into your daily routine is, I think, really important. And I think it's a routine that so many people don't prioritize, or maybe they don't know the value of. Like, I certainly didn't. I didn't know the value of fasting. I didn't even realize that it was safe. But since incorporating fasting into our daily lives, it has made an incredible difference in my health and in my relationship with God, and spending that time with Him instead of the time that I would normally spend eating. And so fasting has become a normal part of our lives, in that we do a different amount of fasting every day, depending on our daily activities. So some days we will not eat breakfast. Some days we'll eat dinner early and fast longer through the night, and then we'll have breakfast. Sometimes we'll do a 24-hour fast. We'll fast most of the day. Sometimes we'll fast overnight. Sometimes we just don't fast. We do a shorter fast where we eat breakfast, lunch, and dinner, 2 days in a row. So it really depends on your schedule and how much you want to fast. Like, what are your goals when it comes to fasting? But really, it's just making it part of your daily routine and changing your mindset in thinking that you have to eat all the time when you don't. And so not eating when you're not hungry is just second nature now. For myself and my husband, we just don't eat when we're not hungry. Like today, we didn't eat breakfast. We had a really busy morning. We had to leave early, and we worked through lunch. And we're going to have a little bit later dinner than we normally would, because we're recording podcasts right now. So it's really just incorporating it into your daily life and making it work for you, so that you can improve your health.
Well, for me, I have my grandmother passed away from Alzheimer's. My mother currently has late stage Alzheimer's, and she is only 72 years old. And when I say late stage, I mean she's 1 foot in the grave at this point. And my dad's mom had dementia when she died. So it just runs really rampant in my family. I carry both the genetic variants for it. So when I started studying brain health and Alzheimer's prevention, the habits that I began to form and that I teach on are actually quite overlapping with everyone to some degree, but it's definitely, I have a course that I have created, as well as my own private membership in my group that talks about the 5 pillars of Alzheimer's prevention. And those are basically habits that we have to form in order to prevent Alzheimer's and to heal our brain from all the damage that we do throughout life, not knowing what we need to do to take care of ourselves. So those habits are sleep. And when we get behind the membership, into the membership area, of course, I'll go into more detail, but it's sleep. You definitely want to make sure you're getting good sleep. And fasting is, this is an order of importance. So sleep is the most important thing you want to focus on when you're trying to maintain your brain health. Then you want to make sure you're getting good fasting in. Intermittent fasting is highly suggested for brain health. And then extended fasts for, at least a few times a year. And that can mean 24, 48, or 72 hours. It doesn't have to be anything too crazy. And I'll let Bree go a lot more into fasting when we get into the membership area. And then the third thing is your nutrition. It's making sure that the nutrition is focused on brain health. That piggybacks a lot off of what Sheri said about removing processed foods and things like that from your diet. The 4th pillar is going to be your exercise. And for me, it's not a lot of cardio. It's a lot of heavy weightlifting and some HIIT, which is high intensity interval training. And I do that 5 days a week, sometimes 6. And then the 5th pillar is mindset, and it is getting into your Bible. It is talking to God. It is removing the stress, because stress creates so much damage in the body. And I'm sure we can all talk about that in the membership, but stress is probably the worst thing for all the ailments that are out there, for just emphasizing them and making them so much worse. So cleaning all of that up and changing your habits around that can be really hard. And that's what we're here to help you change. So we ask you to please join our membership so that we can help you create better habits. And we're going to go tell our members how to do that now. Okay, we're in the training session. Miss Julie, you're up.
Okay. So going back to, let's see, how do I pick that up? So if you're listening to me, then you're in the membership now. And part of, I think through just the grief journey and trying to figure out how to move past that with the habits was really picking up and identifying what habits were right for me and how it was going to serve me throughout this time. A couple of things that I knew that I needed was a better relationship and more time with God. And so I started listening to Brendon Burchard, actually, and he talked about high performance habits. And the more I listened to him, then I started like developing this routine of listening to people all the time through my meditation. And they kind of really sparked my meditation habit journey. What happened for me is my meditations became kind of how I formed my habits. In other words, when I would meditate, that's when I would talk to God and say, God, I want to have a life that looks like this. I want to have a routine that looks like this. I want to be a girl that looks like that. I want to walk this way or talk this way or live this way. I want to serve this way. And how do I become her? And those things kind of led to the habits that I built for myself. because I could see who I wanted to be, but yet I did not know how to be her, and I did not know how to get there. And I knew that God was the only one. So that's how kind of the habits formed. It was also a way to calm my nervous system, because I knew that I could not walk around all the time with my neck up. If those of you ever feel like this, that's your vagus nerve. And it's basically protecting your body. It's a protective for us. And that's what I did every day as I walked around with my shoulders in my neck. I would go to bed with my shoulders up here. And so my way of pulling that down, I was getting up every day, and I started with stretches. And those stretches were like, God, I want to stretch my arms, and so I would talk to him as I was doing kind of my stretches. And also my 5 minutes of meditation that has now become 15 minutes of meditation. And I want to share my entire routine, but there's not enough time. My entire morning routine, I call it the vacation. This is like my daily vacation, because I get up and I give to myself, and I'm learning what myself likes. And we were talking earlier, I fell off the bandwagon, and I do this every year. I fall off the bandwagon, but seeing it is really powerful too, because before it would just be like, oh, I just quit all these routines. I've really done a disservice to myself. But now I almost see it as like, here's a great time that I can restart and share with people how those routines have really changed, my life. But I just want to encourage you that I can talk about my routines all day long, but I hear people say, well, how do I know what God is telling me to do? Or how do I know when I listen and I try to get these routines to calm my nervous system or to deal with a grief or a situation in life? And I think what I say is that you have to start a routine first of talking to him, because the more you share with him about what you want your routine to look like, the more he's going to answer. And sometimes that answering can be things like a containment or a confinement routine. And maybe that's where one day a week you totally put your phone to the side, start with a 5-minute timer, and just go into a place that is off limits from any distraction, and just say, hey, God, I need to hear from you. And these are things that I want to do. And every time you go thinking about something else, come back to, okay, God, I am here to hear you. And for me, it was eat celery. I know that sounds crazy, but I wanted to know what to eat, and it was eat celery. And so that's where I want to leave you with my routine, just spiritual journey and health piece of it, because it catapulted my health too. Like, what do I need to eat? Who do I need to be? But yeah, start there. And that meditation is a big deal, but you can't just pick it up. So just give yourself time, start slow, and you'll learn more from us as we go along. So yeah, I can't wait to hear what else you guys have to share. Sheri.
Thank you, Julie. That was good. I kind of said what I do with my clients, but it was all born out of what I did for myself. The things that I do in my 6-week wellness program are things that I created habits for in my life, the things that changed my life, my family's life, to be on a healthier path. If you listen to my original testimony, I guess in the very beginning of when we, told, how we got where we are. My daughter had ADHD, and she still does. But she sent us down the path of changing what we ate, and how we ate. And so that is really what sparked everything. But along that same path, and I was writing a blog today that I put out there as on my own website, is about, balancing your blood sugars. And for me, I had hypoglycemia. So when I changed my whole way of eating, and I changed getting off of processed foods, and I changed eating real food, and it changed all of that. My blood sugar levels are now very even. And with hypoglycemia, it's kind of the opposite of being diabetic. I will crash. That's what would happen to me. I'd get, if I was late getting breakfast, I would get, you know, people didn't want to be around me. I would, you know, if you know, lunch got pushed late because I was at work, I would get cranky, I'd get hangry. I got to the point where a couple of times I actually did pass out because my blood sugar dropped. And so these ladies can now testify. I've been, you know, playing around with the fasting. There is no way, I've done a 36-hour fast, and there would have been absolutely no way that I could have done a 36-hour fast. Intermittent fasting was a problem. So just by changing what I eat, changed, you know, my blood sugar levels and made them even. And changing your blood sugar levels and making them even is going to help you lose weight. It's going to help you, you know, have more focus. It's going to help you feel better, have a longer life. So it's very important. So there's a lot of facets into, you know, why you should eat clean, and how to go about it. But that's, you know, learning to read labels is probably the best first place to start with that. I know we've talked about that in different episodes. Exercise, I've always been an exercise person. That is a huge habit for me. 6 or 7 days a week, I am taking a walk at night for two miles, and that is clearing my mind. That is getting out in nature. That is resetting me, and it's my stress relief. Exercise has always been my stress relief. I do love cardio, but my cardio involves HIIT training with weights. I'm using, you know, kettlebells, I'm using dumbbells in all of my exercises. So it is all weight bearing as well. But, and then sleep. Sleep is huge. Sleep is also going to help with your blood sugar levels. It's going to help with everything, honestly. If you don't get enough sleep, you can't focus. You cannot perform well. And you're probably not going to hear from God either, because you're going to be in a brain fog. So there's my 2 cents for that. But and then the last thing I was talking about was, you know, finding some time to relax. And honestly, I am a go person. I do not sit on the couch. I go until I go to bed. And so for me, sitting down sometimes it's a hard thing to do for me, because I don't watch TV, never have. But I do every morning. I will go out and I will sit by my pool, and I will spend time praying. I'll spend time in gratitude. I will have my feet on the ground, and I am grounding, and I've got my face toward the sun, feeling that nice warm sun on my face. And my pool has a wonderful, we put it in one of the jets, a fountain that comes out, and it's very relaxing. And it's, for me, it's a great way to start my day and to just get set in starting my day. So those are some of the things that I do every day. So there you go. How about you, Bree?
Yeah. So with fasting, I fast every single day. I pretty much never eat breakfast. Occasionally we'll do brunch or breakfast if it's the weekend or a vacation, but pretty much I don't ever eat breakfast. So I don't, that has changed my morning routine a lot, in that I don't have to worry about food when I wake up. I make my tea, I sit down and do my devotions, I do the laundry, the dishes, I get myself ready for the day, I go to work, I do all those things. Like, so in the morning I can take a little more time with God and feed my dogs and enjoy my cup of tea and those kind of things, instead of worrying about making a bunch of food. And I don't usually put make food for later either. Occasionally I will do something, like if I'm going to do crock pot, or if we have plans or something. But yeah, it's not, there's a certain amount of freedom in your routine with not being chained to the kitchen all the time. So I really love that aspect of fasting, in that I can take extra time in the day to do other things that I enjoy, other things that I want to do. So that is what most of my days look like. I usually skip breakfast, sometimes lunch, sometimes dinner, but pretty much always breakfast. And I have incorporated more fasting and prayer in my routines as well. I have a certain day of the week that I set aside every week to fast and pray and spend that time with God. And I'll do a Bible study with my daughter and spend time praying with my husband and things like that. So it's become a huge part of our lives, and I can't imagine not fasting. And even recently we went on vacation and didn't really fast very much while we were on vacation, but a few days in, my husband and I were both like, I miss fasting. Which I know it sounds silly to like, it sounds crazy, when you say it out loud, like, I miss not eating. Like, but you miss that feeling of just being more in tune with your surroundings and more in tune with God, and just, I don't know, there is something that is indescribable that happens when you're fasting. So if you haven't tried fasting, I would encourage you to try it. There are many reasons to fast and to incorporate it into your life, just to have a closer relationship with God, and also for your health. That's how we got into fasting originally. We both lost a ton of weight fasting and improved our health. I actually started fasting because my health was in the toilet, and fasting and God answering our prayers has just done so much for my health and for my mental state and for my heart. So yeah, I would encourage you to make fasting part of your everyday routine. What about you, Leigh Ann?
So brain health is my skill set at this point, and but I do work full time too. So for me, my routine looks like I have to do my de-stressing early in the morning so that when I go to work, I'm not ready to, throw my computer through the window or anything like that. So every morning, my routine looks like I get up and I make a cup of coffee for my husband and I, and we sit in bed and we read a chapter or two out of the Bible and discuss it. So we have a little Bible study first thing in the morning, like that. Nothing else happens before we do that. And then I get up and start my day. I also fast every day, and we kind of switch it up too. We play around with what works better for our bodies and when we're feeling better. But what seems to be working the most right now is having a midday meal and then a dinner after we work out at night. So I come home from work and I lift weights and sometimes incorporate some HIIT into that. Every night except Wednesday and Friday, I lift, and so I get that done. And then the sleep part of it. So I'm perimenopausal, and that's the hardest part for me, is the sleep, finding my sleep balance. And lately it's been getting really good. I've been doing a lot more 24 to 48 hour fasts, and I seem to be sleeping a lot better now. I believe that lifting that brain fog is so essential for getting better sleep. The thing that I'm focused on right now, the habit that I'm forming right now, is to break my fast with something healthier than what I usually break my fast with, because I don't always eat the best meal when I break my fast. So I'm focused on that this week, especially. And so sleep, though, for brain health in particular, sleep is the most important thing, and 7 to 9 hours. They say uninterrupted sleep. Well, what's considered uninterrupted sleep in the Alzheimer's community is not getting out of bed. If you wake up and can roll over and go right back to sleep, they don't qualify that as uninterrupted sleep that will affect brain health. If you can get solid sleep between the hours of 10 and 2, you're actually in that sweet spot for healing the brain and reconnecting neurons and making the memories and all that fun stuff. So 10 to 2, for some reason, seems to be the best time for brain healing. So I always want to, if I wake up before 2 o'clock in the morning, I'm so frustrated because I'm always sleeping before 10 o'clock, but I want that 10 to 2 range to always be good quality sleep. I am not a fan of Bluetooth anything on me while I'm sleeping, so I don't wear anything to track my sleep. However, I'm very curious about it. But yeah, so sleep is the most important thing, 7 to 9 hours. And then the fasting would be the second most important thing, because fasting is when our brains reach autophagy after 24 hours, and we have a lot of cellular cleanup happening at that point. So I know 24 hours might sound really hard, but the first couple of times doing it twice will make all the difference in the world, because then it becomes super easy to do a 24-hour fast. And I personally prefer not to fast, not to sleep hungry. I tend not to sleep as well if I'm hungry. So I'll fast dinner to dinner usually. That's how I like to do it. And then my nutrition is 90% keto carnivore, and then 10% is my junk food for the week if I choose to do that. But I really try to keep my food as high protein, fat, low carb as I can. And I do eat really clean proteins and fats. And then what was the final one? I can't even think. Oh, my exercise. I already told you my exercise routine and my meditation routine. I am definitely, if you listened to last week's podcast, I definitely need to work more on meditating. But I do try to make sure that I'm at least talking to God every day, because just that daily communication with God relieves so much stress for me. Just being a follower of Jesus has relieved so much stress for me. I just don't feel anger like I used to. I don't feel frustration. When people drive stupid on the road, I tend not to yell at them anymore. And that's a huge sign of patience, right? So, those are the habits that I have formed and that I coach people to form, to try and make sure that they are doing the best that they can do for their brain health, because I believe that Alzheimer's is like the worst possible way to die. Having watched my grandmother and my mother go through it, it's awful. It's awful. And I'll leave it at that. Anything else, ladies? All right. Well, thank you for joining us in this training session. Let us know if you have some habits that you are working on, and if it's for a specific reason. We'd love reasons to pray for you, but we'd also love reasons to just talk to you and communicate with you about your habits. Next week, we will be actually talking about how we get back on track when we do fall off the bandwagon, and that's going to be a really fun episode too. So we will look forward to seeing you then, and have a great week.